everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And today we are here to talk about the second preseason game, the third week of training camp, fourth week of training camp now, final week of training camp.
Yeah. Today was the last day of training camp. It's over.
Right. Training camp is over. The Baltimore Ravens are in town and will be facing the Panthers Saturday night at the bank. What do we call it? The bank? The vault?
No. Yeah.
Is anybody? I don't know. Bank of America Stadium. How about that? The boa constrictor.
I always thought they should call it the vault, but it never caught on. So
I mean, that works with a dominant defense. You know, it makes sense to me. But anyway, the Ravens are here. We're going to be talking Saturday night's game. We're going to be talking the end of training camp, what we thought about training camp this year, and
the stellar last practice by the defense.
Yeah, exactly. We'll definitely get into some of that, but I guess we'll start off. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit of injury news. There, unfortunately, was a bit today.
Yeah. Starting off with the Panthers, Marquise Haynes has a shoulder injury. Matt Rule didn't really elaborate what type of shoulder injury it was. He was walking around with his arm in a sling, and he'll be out for a week or two, that basically they said.
Probably until the regular season starts, I would imagine.
Yeah. I think he's solidified his spot as that pass rushing rotational guy.
Yeah, I mean, I know I don't want to step on Camp too much, but he has been one of the more impressive guys. Not a starter per se, but one of the more impressive non-starters, I guess. Maybe the most impressive non-starter.
Yeah, him and Etor really kind of showed up. The same similar position, that pass rushing, but that rotation is going to be scary for opposing defenses.
Yeah.
Big one, defensive end, Brian Burns had his arm in a wrap. Probably won't play this week. I mean, there's no real
Is that what they said? Did they say he wouldn't play?
They said his arm is in a wrap. Matt Rule said some starters will be playing this game. Sam Darnold probably will, but with his injury, why risk
it? Yeah, I guess I just didn't see that. I haven't seen where he was injured, so I don't know if that's like just a maintenance thing or what. But I kind of hope he plays. But obviously, if he's tweaked at all, then
no. Left tackle Cammy Irving, shocker, had injury every week of training camp, shoulder injury. Again, he goes out. Moton goes in at left tackle. He spent most of the time at left tackle because Cam Irving supposedly has that job on lock for the two practices he actually practices training camp.
Again, is he actually injured?
Yeah,
is it more of a
they took him out of practice today, and he left practice to get his shoulder looked at. Not sure if he's going to play. None of these we know. I mean, these are all kind of what our reporters are reporting, basically.
Yeah.
DJ Moore, back injury. Another guy, wouldn't expect him to play. Just why risk it?
He went down hard, making a catch and tweaked something, they said. But sounds like it's not that big of a deal. But we'll talk here in a few minutes about who we think is going to actually start. In terms of regular starters.
And Robbie Anderson, hamstring injury. So
it's kind of a lingering thing for him.
Yeah.
I guess he aggravated it in the game Sunday, and he has not practiced since. So good news though is that Denzel Perryman has been active in some capacity in the last couple of practices. I don't think he was out there like practicing against the Ravens today, but he has been doing more. So by the time the regular season rolls around, he should be ready to go.
I really hope he actually plays in this or next week's last game, just because we haven't seen him, and we'll get into it a little bit more about the game. But, the rush defense was the one thing that I was kind of iffy about last weekend. That's his bread and butter.
Yeah.
So. Now, I'm going to just list off these Ravens injuries. I just found them through Ravens Wire, or I think their other one is Ebony Bird, which I thought was a very interesting title.
Ebony Bird.
Yeah.
And I noticed some of these, like I've seen these guys out at practice. So
yeah. So I don't know if this is like, hey, they have a hangnail injury or if they're actually injured. And in preseason, they don't have to disclose anything. So wide receiver, Marquise Brown, Rashad Bateman, Sammy Watkins, Miles Boykin, Deion Kane, guard Ben Cleveland, cornerback Jimmy Smith, who's already been told is out. Running back Justice Hill, tight end Nick Boyle, cornerback Marlon Humphrey, quarterback Trace McSorley. He has also been reported that he is out. Cornerback Brandon Stevens and defensive tackle Aaron Crawford. They have a long list there, but again, we don't know how serious these injuries are.
Right. I know Sammy Watkins has been out there practicing. So some of these guys, I think it may just be like they're on the injury report, but they're still good to go. So it'll be interesting to see. Matt Rule did say today, it was today, earlier today, that the starters would play some for the Panthers, a series or two. He said they want to get Sam Darnold out there, depending on who else is out there to protect him. That was pretty much what Matt Rule said, word for word. So I'm thinking that means as long as the vast majority of the offensive line is healthy, Sam Darnold will be out there for a couple of series.
I think so too. And I think because I listened to it, I thought he said some of the starters. Because
right, he said some of the starters will play a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and if they need to. I think J.C. Horn is a prime example of a guy who needs to be out there. I mean, he's looked great in camp, but let's get him on the field in game decisions. And I'll be interested how he does and what type of offense the Baltimore Ravens are going to run. Because let's be honest, Lamar Jackson is their MVP. You can't be. He's going to Cam Newton it. If you remember how Cam Newton would play in, preseason, he would never run. It was always quick dump offs and then get him out of there. And I could see them doing the same thing. It's you don't want 90% of your offense to go out.
You don't want your quarterback to take a hit if you can avoid it. So, and I think that's from what Matt Rule said and my, interpretation of it is that anybody that is 100% healthy as a starter will probably play. Anybody that has any kind of question will not play. But I do want to ask you, should Christian McCaffrey play?
No.
Should a healthy Brian Burns play?
I would like to see it, but since he has this arm wrap and stuff, I would say no. Just no.
No, I'm just saying, like, assume full health.
Full health?
Yeah.
I would let him play a series.
So just why him and not McCaffrey? Just because McCaffrey's coming off the injuries from last year?
McCaffrey's coming off the injuries, and if he's going to get the ball, he's going to automatically get hit, while Brian Burns is going to be rushing the passer, a little less contact.
I guess I was thinking about it more like, who am I 100% sure is going to be full go week one, doesn't need it? I feel like Brian Burns doesn't need it. I feel like Christian McCaffrey doesn't need it. DJ Moore doesn't need it.
I get the Brian Burns thing, but I would also like to see what he could do against Lamar Jackson.
I know you want to see him. We want to see all of these guys. I cannot wait for week one. I am so excited just to see this whole team out there. But I think guys like J.C. Horn, guys like Jermaine Carter, Derek Brown, Hassan Reddick, even just getting him some reps out there. And then all of the offensive line, even Taylor, like just get them out there working together in a real game situation. And to that point, the defensive line, you could say the same thing. Like, get Burns and everybody else out there. And then obviously Darnold. And if you're going to play Darnold, then you probably should put those wide receivers out there if they're healthy. So,
yeah, I agree with that. If DJ and Robbie Anderson are fully healthy, I would want them out there with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, right.
That being said, if they are injured or tweaked, there's no need for DJ out there to get injured more, or Robbie Anderson with that hamstring. We've seen that with Steve Smith in the past, where that hamstring every week, and he would just hop off the field, but he would always play,
Yeah, and Robbie Anderson, please don't play. Like, even if you feel okay, do not play. Maybe play next week, a couple of series, but don't play this week with that. We don't want that. Don't want to have to go through that.
And plus, we want to see Terrace Marshall.
Yeah, well, and that kind of segues into, what are you looking for in this game? Maybe that you didn't see in week 1, or, a continuation of what you did see in week 1.
If Lamar Jackson plays, I would like to see how they would try to contain him. Even though you're not going to be doing fancy blitzes or anything, but we saw last week, our vanilla defensive line can still get back there and get back there in a hurry. And I would like to just see how they look. One big thing I do want to see I really like J.K. Dobbins. I think he's a really good running back. And I would like to see them stop him. I would like to see our defense stop him if he plays. And if not, they have a running back controversy going on after that with Justin Hill and Tyson Williams. Like to see those, see them stop them and go from there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the defensive line. I'm going to go the other side. And the offensive line is what I'm really going to be paying attention to. And especially when Darnold's back there, and, whatever form these starting offensive line takes in this game, I want to see Darnold with a clean pocket and Darnold with time to make the right decision. And then I want to see Darnold make the right decision, right? I mean, but I think that offensive line they need the work. They need the time, and they need a starting pass rush coming at them full speed. And that's what I'm most excited to see. And I wouldn't even mind if they stayed out there with PJ or Will Grier or whoever's plays second this week. I wouldn't mind seeing them play, most of the first quarter.
I mean, if Cam Irving's out there, though, you got to think they're going to pull him as soon as possible, just because, he's always injured.
And, and that's the thing is, if that's the case, then they need to go out and they need to sign another left tackle.
You say that, they're not doing it.
But they need to. Well, they did sign another offensive lineman today.
I told them they needed to draft Justin Fields, but they didn't. So, that's.
Well, I think, Justin Fields, Rashawn Slater, there were lots of good options at that pick. But
nothing wrong with J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn, I think, is going to be a great corner for us.
Sure. But there were maybe more pressing needs. Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited to see that. I will say that I'm also excited to see if Terrace Marshall can continue to grow. And if Robbie Anderson doesn't play, and I'm assuming he doesn't, then that means Marshall will probably be starting opposite DJ Moore.
And
maybe the number one receiver himself. Sorry.
And the Ravens have a great secondary. If the starters who typically start, or at least, a semblance of them, I want to see it. I want to see them go up against a really good secondary, which the Ravens have, and see if Darnold can make the right read, even though it's going to be a vanilla defense. If the offensive line, like you already said, and if the wide receivers can catch. They've had a lot of dropitis lately in camp. So
they have,
Let's get that out of their system. Let's make sure that you can make the plays when it really counts.
Yeah.
Because you're struggling now.
Yeah, agreed. And I would even go so far as to say with the Panthers' first series, let Darnold throw those first 3 downs and at least until they get a first down. I want to see it. We know McCaffrey's good. We know McCaffrey has had a great camp, maybe the best camp of anybody, especially on the offense. In fact, I don't think that's even really a question. But let's see Darnold get out there and throw. He can throw to McCaffrey, give him a little check down or something. But I that's what I want to see. But who else? Who else are you excited to watch?
Jermaine Carter.
Yeah,
he has been just a revelation in camp. He's been out there outplaying with the linebackers. He really kind of flipped the switch on the defense last year. I want to continue to watch him grow. that might be just, me wanting to see it throughout the season, but
Well, it seems like he has potentially earned the starting spot over Perryman,
yeah,
even when Perryman comes back healthy. I mean, that contract with Perryman is not a big contract.
no.
So there should be no feeling that he has to start based on that contract. It's a small contract. So, really the linebacker core overall, I'm interested to see, with Shaq Thompson and Luvu is a linebacker, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Luvu. I was gonna actually bring that up. I want to see him too because he showed flashes last week,
and he had a really good week. Yeah, he had a good week of practice this week too.
So I would like to see him continue on with that. I want to see if he was just that flash in the pan or if he actually has, something there.
Yeah. There's a lot of young guys on this defense that, CJ Saunders and Luvu,
Sean Chandler.
Chandler. Yep. Sean Chandler. I mean, a lot of young guys on this defense that have been making waves in camp and they're going to make the team. Like this is going to be a kind of a deep roster here on the defense. I mean, obviously last year, the offense was the strength of the team and the defense started coming on. Yeah, I know, which, with Teddy Bridgewater leading him was not that much of a strength. But this year, the defense is going to be the strength of the team.
I mean, we're sitting here talking about all these defensive players. We're not even talking about Jeremy Chin, who we love, who was the defensive MVP for our team last year.
Right, Jeremy. And
another great camp too. It's not like he's had a bad camp.
Yeah, Derek Brown's had a really good camp. Davion Nixon has had an excellent camp. I mean, today alone had 2 interceptions. From that position.
Well, he actually sidebar here. So he was talking to the press about that. They're talking about one of them. He dropped back in coverage. They were like, "You dropped back in coverage." He goes, "No, I'm not supposed to." He goes, "I'm like a spy on the quarterback, but when they're not running, I kind of drop back a little bit to help clog up some of those passing lanes." And he goes, "That's what I did in college too. It just works." So I was like, "Okay, yeah,
hey,
that's how you want to play it."
Yeah. But I mean, he's been extremely impressive, and he was
Hoskins.
Hoskins.
Had another good camp.
So the defenses looked great. The offenses looked a little shaky in camp. Like you mentioned, the drops. That's a lot. Darnold himself has mentioned timing is just not there yet.
And honestly,
maybe he hasn't thrown deep a lot.
Joe Pearson actually brought that up, that he is not throwing deep. He's doing a lot of checkoffs, and hopefully it's just him getting into the rhythm, getting the timing with the receivers, because he has an arm. It's not like Teddy Bridgewater.
I'm sure that's what it is. I'm sure he's just working on getting those timing routes down, because that's what those short routes are. They're timing routes. Throwing deep, you just chunk it up there and hope the receiver comes down and gets it. And obviously there's more to it than that, but but those slant routes, those end arounds, those quick outs, and hook routes, all that stuff, that's all timing. So that's what they're working on, and they should be, honestly. And I wouldn't expect Darnold to be perfect, this point of camp. I think it's going to take a few weeks into the regular season before he really is comfortable, and that timing, and that timing is there. So, we as a fan base of any team have the propensity to jump to conclusions, right off the bat. Well, I think we need to give Darnold a little bit of time, and the offense overall a little bit of time.
I am trying to give Darnold time. My problem is
you didn't want Darnold to begin with.
No, not at all.
You've not liked Darnold since he was at USC.
Yeah, I hated him coming out. Not hated him, but I disliked him coming out of college. I thought he was overrated, but he's here. I'm cheering for him.
He's your quarterback now. Yeah.
That's my quarterback.
Anything else to kind of look at? I mean, obviously, I think the backup quarterback situation is going to be interesting, especially if Greer gets more time with the twos and is able to air it out a little bit more.
Yeah. one wide receiver for the Ravens, I read James Proch. He's been the training camp star. Like to see how our secondary handles him. See if he's the real deal, especially with all these injuries that they have. See what our defense can do with him. And another guy that they said to watch out for is Chris Westry, cornerback. So see what our receivers, because our receiver core is deep.
Yeah.
Quarterback is not so deep, but
quarterback is as shallow as it could be. Even the starter might be shallow.
But Will Grier is supposed to be getting a lot more snaps, probably be the second one in since it's a battle, but we'll see how he does.
So. Yeah.
We'll see how he does.
I mean, I have no confidence in Will Grier, but I'd like him to get the shot at least. I mean, he deserves that. So yeah. PJ got his shot last week. PJ looked okay. So yeah. Well, let's look at what else we got here. Beer bet. Predictions. What do you want to do?
I want to do with the 5 interceptions in today's practice. How many interceptions do you think the Carolina Panthers will get?
And you're talking about the whole game, not just
whole
the starters.
Game. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to go 1.
Okay. I will go. It'll be 1.5 over under. I will go over.
Okay.
You'll go under.
Would you have gone over if I said 2.5?
No.
Okay. So 1.5 was the right choice. Yeah. Not that I don't have any faith in this defense. And probably you're going to win this because the backups are going to play most of the game. Backup quarterback for. Who is the number 1 backup? Is it McSorley, the number 1 backup for Baltimore?
I don't know. Man, I looked at this earlier too.
Let's see. Ravens depth chart. Yeah, it is. So Tyler Huntley and Kenji Behar are probably going to play most of that game. So you're definitely going to win that. Let's set it at 2.5. Just to be fair. Yeah, that's bad call on my part.
We'll see. I mean, you don't know. Like I said, with the running back situation that they have, that they're going to have to cut probably someone they really like or release them.
Yeah,
they'll probably try to run the ball a lot.
Could be. Maybe there'll be 10 fumbles and no interceptions. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Who's you gonna call your star of the game? Go ahead and call who's your star of the game for the Panthers gonna be?
I'm gonna say PJ Walker.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Even though he may be only playing like the quarter and a half at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going him.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, oh man. I'm gonna give it to Frankie Louvu again. I just think he's gonna play a lot, and he is desperate for that spot on the team, and he played well last week. I think he's gonna continue that, so I'm going with him. Frankie Louvu, a guy I did not know his name 2 weeks ago, probably. But yeah, so I mean, looking forward to the preseason game prediction, final score prediction. Not that it matters.
24-17.
Do the Panthers break the streak of the Baltimore Ravens? I didn't even
think about that.
I know, we should have mentioned that. Baltimore Ravens have not lost a preseason game since 2015.
24-17. I say no. I say no just because I feel like if I go the other way, it's definitely not going to happen.
I'm saying the Panthers break the streak 12-9.
God, scoring game. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. We will be back probably Thursday because the game is on Friday.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. So until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.